Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name is Sprinklebeard, and today we're going to be reviewing Olague, the Unyielding Bastion. So, the next couple of seconds is going to be a big spoiler. So, for those of you playing the game and you want to get Olague yourself, don't listen for the next, 30 seconds. Just jump ahead in the video. Olague is a very easy obtainable champion. When you get your account to around level 40, you will unlock the Void Rift. If you were able to defeat this first boss, and you'll know which one the boss is, but if you're able to defeat the first boss in the Void Rift, Olague comes out from behind them, and he's like, hey, I'm here to help. So, Olague is a free epic defender that anybody can get. You don't need just shards for him. With that being said, it's not like it's super easy to get to level 40, but it's a cool fact that as you're, leveling up and whatnot, if you feel like you need a better defender on your account, that's how you do it. It's a really cool reward. All right, so Olague, the Unyielding Bastion. Let's get into what he does, why he's fantastic. He is our defender of the game. He is a, he's from the north is what I'm aiming at. HP-wise, he actually has one of the lowest HPs out of all the epic tanks. However, that's not really going to matter when we go talk about the rest of his kit, but it's something for you guys to keep in mind. Attack, we don't ever care about his attack. Again, once we talk about his kit, we're going to see why we don't care about that attack stat. Defense, he does have a very common around 3,000 defense, so very useful. He is a defender, so that means he can block up to 3 units. His cost is 18. An attack interval, we don't care about. He's got a shield as a weapon. He's kind of like Braum from League of Legends. We don't necessarily care about his damage output. It's all about the shield. So his A1, it is attacks one enemy. Nothing else. Just that's it. He just slaps something with a shield. His passive. This is the huge reason Olague is one of the top-rated tanks in the game. Is his Silver Shield passive. So 12-second cooldown on it. So every 12 seconds, cast a shield that can absorb damage equal to 50% of his max HP. This does scale up to being up to 75% of his max HP, as well as the cooldown reduces from 12 seconds down to 11 seconds. Now, give me 1 second. Sorry, we just had a bloody nose and on stream, and I just tasted some of that blood, so let's get rid of that. This is absolutely amazing. This basically is going to double his HP constantly. The shield will not stack on itself. So if one of you guys is thinking, so wait, if I summon out Brolague in the first 5 seconds of the match and he's just going to keep putting this shield on himself, no. What he will do is he will put a shield on himself and then the countdown begins. The moment his shield disappears or he becomes unshielded by his own effect, he will then refresh the shield on himself. Why I say it this manner is that if you pair him up with something like Vortex, or because he's a northerner, if you have the a lord from it, like Dagna the Rare, Isolde the Epic, or King Hars, I think it's King Hars or Lord Hars, whomever, they give a shielding effect to him. And while he's underneath of their shield effects, he can in fact still give himself a silver shield, which then does stack with those other shielding effects. So a lot of shield on shield on shield action can happen with this champion. Lastly, his ultimate. His ultimate does take one of the longest to get to, but it is also one of the more amazing defender ultimates. Stop attacking, so this is why we haven't cared about his attack stat, and shifts to a defensive stance for 25 seconds, increasing his physical damage reduction by 40%, and he gets an additional block. So instead of him blocking 3 units, he can block up to 4 units. As we skill this up, we can increase the duration from 25 seconds up to 30 seconds. We increase the physical damage reduction from 40% to 50%, and reduce the skill cost from 1,000 down to 900. Now, we just reviewed Deimos in the last video. This is another one of the champions where he starts off with no initial rage, so getting to that first ultimate will feel like it takes forever to get to. Understand, though, This kind of doesn't matter, because usually on your first couple of waves, you don't need your ultimate right away. And with his being able to block 4 units, his is kind of the, like, situational one, right? Where when you really need to stop a lane from moving, you can hunker down and stop a lane from moving, and it will feel amazing. Yeah. Yeah, ultimately, one of the best tanks in the game, literally just from his silver shield, and no other reason. Then the fact that he can block an additional thing in the lane makes him feel just fantastic. I don't want to keep saying amazing, but he's Brolague. He's amazing. Awakenings. So let's talk about Olague's Awakenings. Increases the strength of shields gained by 10%. So strength of shields gained. This not only applies to his silver shield, but his faction shield, or like champions like Vortex that are gifting him a shield. He can make them 10% stronger. It's absolutely an amazing awakening. I was going to do that for alliteration, and then I realized that I keep saying the word amazing. Defense plus 100. This helps. I would have rather seen HP here. It is what it is. Still a good thing. HP. Ironic that his Awakening 3 is HP rather than a skill modification. Why is that? They are really doubling down on his tank stats. So when we get down here to Awakening 4, all damage reductions plus 5%. So he gets more defense, more damage reductions, more HP. It's actually kind of nice. His kit is very simple, so they kind of couldn't really go too hard with it beyond. Finally, his Awakening 5, when the ultimate is triggered, grants physical reduction to the same duration to adjacent allies. Now, I admittedly do not have him at A5, so I don't know if that just means to his left and his right, or if that does mean any ally within 1 tile of him. I actually assume it's within 1 tile of him, but I do use the word assume there intentionally, right? I 100% don't know, so I am just going to guess that it hits all allies within 1 tile of him. Worst case scenario, it'll be on either side of him. That being said, is Olague somebody that, like, when we get him, we should sink a whole bunch of dust into him and fully awaken him? A little bit. So when it comes to dust, absolutely. More specifically, we actually only really care about this silver shield. Once this silver shield is fully upgraded, I would argue it's not as big a deal to get this extra physical damage reduction and duration. I have never seen Olague die with his shield up. The only exception to that is when I left my Olague at 5-star and was trying to do like artifact material raid 18. Olague was just taking a little too much damage into that. And then the moment I 6-starred him, Olague has never died since. Olague is this super amazing tank, and then specifically, as long as Olague cannot die like from like full HP with that shield on in 11 seconds, he'll throw that next shield right back on himself automatically, which then lets your champions like your Vortex or your Nasande heal him back up to full. And if it's Vortex excess healing becomes a shield, which then puts in a better delay for Olague to get his own shield back up. It's awesome. It's some really cool synergy. Absolutely love that they have a champion that is just meant to be, you know, big old shield champion. Nothing's getting past me. And he does his job very well. Where is Olague most useful at? Wherever you need a defender. We're going to make this video a little on the quicker side. For those of you watching this video series, thank you very much. But yes, everywhere where we need a defender, if you need him in the campaign to block off lanes, he's absolutely craptastic. He's going to stop anything from getting through him. He's going to feel like he's just surviving for days, especially if you fully skill dust him up. You pretty much only need to put HP percentage on him. You don't even really need defense on him. If you get defense on him, that's great. Just focus on HP and he will be unkillable in every sense of the word. You get Olague in the Void Rift. Earlier I warned people about spoilers, so my bad. But he's super amazing in the Void Rift. A lot of the time, some of the big damage you take is either magical damage, which that shield will absorb all that magical damage. And again, that shield kind of doubles his HP. So he's going to feel like a better tank majority of the time than other tanks, or other tanks that need to be in combat to be restoring their HP, or tanks that deal damage or something. Olague is going to feel amazing. He's going to feel like the first pure tank you really feel like you get, where we're not depending on his damage. I don't even know what his damage is, to be honest. He just does such a good job of being a physical wall that he feels amazing everywhere in the Void Rift. In the arena, you could use him in things like your single target or sustained DPS. I guess you could even argue to use him in the AoE arena. However, I would argue at his cost of 18, in all three of these, it would be better for you to bring out another damage source because you have such restrictions to what you can bring. When it comes to the raids, anywhere you need a tank. Marksman, absolutely not. Mages, absolutely fine. Endurance, absolutely amazing. Melee attack, he can just hold lanes for days. And if you have something like Ein, the guy with the spear, stabbing from behind him, or any of the lords with their longer range, so Apsin, Zilla2, Arrogance, Aracha, they will be dropping bombs from behind Olague, and Olague will make sure nothing ever gets near these champions. So absolutely yes, just phenomenal in all those positions. Guild Boss, no, he doesn't do any damage, and even if you had him awakened to 5, I would argue there's other damage reduction champions like Sadie that might be better. I get if you don't have Sadie on your account, well then you can't bring Sadie to Dragon. I would still argue though I wouldn't bring Olague to Guild Boss. We care too much about the damage per second, and Olague providing 0 damage would not be great. Artifact Material Raid, he is king here. If you need somebody to block the lane from that big monstrosity getting to your crystal, Olague is a top choice. He makes your healer have a much easier job of healing them, and then he can put a shield on himself, which then means your healer can heal other things until that shield is broken through, and then your healer can go back to healing up Olague. It's absolutely amazing. Tide, absolutely, right? Having that shield that can block up to 4 units, and then the fact that as you get further and further into Tide, there's going to be the times where you just need defenders to reduce the damage of everybody else in your party. So Olague, I could see being a very worthwhile defender for Tide. Resource Raid, again, his ability to block up to 4 units, very valuable in these resources, especially when you don't have enough damage to kill things off reliably. So yes to Olague here. Your Gear Raids. Gear Raid 2, he was absolutely game-changing for me for Gear Raid 2. I was stuck at 2-12 for quite some time on my account, and then once I got Olague was just able to absorb so much damage from that level and not care. The enemies also don't spawn fast enough, so he can just keep regenerating his own silver shield over and over again, where he didn't give a damn about what was slapping him. Feels great there. Gear Raid 1, I don't think I would recommend him here. Yes, you could argue you can mess with the flow of enemies as they're coming in. So if it's the poison bugs that are self-destructing and like killing off your champs, maybe you can put Olague somewhere to like mess with their flow. I would still argue damage dealers are going to feel a lot better here. Gear Raid 3, please don't bring him here. Faction Trials. In the basic trial, he's absolutely amazing, and the further down you get less time to respond to really big threats. Olague can hold off some really big threats for you to get some other puzzle pieces into place. Just make sure Olague does have a healer. He is tanky, and it's that silver shield that really encourages his longevity. It's not that his defense is massively high. So understand that his silver shield, he needs to be able to live through 11 seconds worth of damage. Some of the enemies, as you get down deeper in the basic trial, they will hit harder than 11 seconds worth of damage. So just make sure that you have a healer just in case, or be prepared to have a healer just in case you need one. When it comes to the trials of the Northerner, I would say this really depends on what northern damage dealers you have. So for me, I have Volroth on this account. What I end up doing for myself, Volroth is putting out plenty of damage for me. So I actually have Volroth at my choke point with Olague behind Volroth. And the reason behind this is there's certain levels that I'm getting to where I'm getting swarmed through, where my Volroth is not able to kill off everything quickly enough. I don't really have enough damage dealers for this faction. That being said, what happens is the things that do slip past Volroth, so like let's say there's 4 enemies, so 2 get stuck on him, and then the other 2 try to walk past him. Those 2 will then get stopped on Olague. Volroth, as he kills the 2 that he's blocking, will then switch to killing those 2 that are still in range of him. So there's absolutely some good strategy to it. Obviously, I could just have like Olague that one space ahead and then have Volroth on the flank. It would probably work out just fine. But it's up to you. It depends on what resources you have and what makes the most sense. For my Northerners, I don't have any other real damage dealer. I've been using Harpin, and Harpin's doing okay, but Harpin's dying a lot. I don't have enough HP or defense on him yet. So, yeah. Yeah, Olague is, he's proving pretty valuable in the Northern faction here. But that's also just Olague. Olague is just this very, very reliable tank in the game. And like we kind of expect of our tanks, he's not doing damage because we don't care if he's doing damage. We care about his survivability. Olague's survivability is super easy. HP percentage, defense percentage. Then if you're lucky enough to have extra stats, flat HP, flat defense, and then really anything else you want. I think Rage Regen would probably be the best way to go, since he doesn't have initial Rage in his kit. I know that I've kind of talked down about Rage Regen in the past. If you're not aware, go watch my Rage Regen video. This is one of the few champions where him having a long cooldown on his ultimate, I would say Rage Regen would be better than attack percentage, flat attack, crit rate, crit damage, attack speed. None of those was really going to benefit him too much. So just the purely defensive stats. The last thing you could do stat-wise with him, and this would be like ridiculous, but you could, is healing effect. And the reason I say healing effect, even though he has no heals, if you are to give him an artifact the way that I have done on my account, is there is an artifact called the North's Will. When his shield disappears, restores 10% of his HP. So Olague, who can constantly refresh his own shield, whenever his shield breaks, he then heals himself for 10% HP. And I can't tell you how frequently my Olague has done that. He just keeps healing himself over and over again, even as the enemy breaks through his shield. And if you consider that if the enemy is breaking through his shield, that's 100% of his HP. So they're doing plenty to him, right? So let's say they do an extra 20% HP damage to him. On top of that, he's then restoring 10% HP, which then means that when my Vortex goes to heal him, Vortex heals him and then gives him more HP. Then Vortex also puts a shield on him, which then when that shield cracks, gives Olague back HP. It becomes this hilariously vicious cycle, and it feels absolutely phenomenal. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all I have for Olague. Olague is absolutely one of the top-rated tanks in this game. He is somebody that you should not underestimate. If you're not sure if he's going to be good or not, literally just throw any HP percentage gear you have for him on top of him. My Olague, as you can still see, is playing with yellow gear and still is providing amazing tank services to my team reliably. Here I have him wearing a crit damage piece. That is how little I have had to invest in him for him to be absolutely phenomenal. I do know recently there was a gear upgrade event where I finally did give him the HP set, and this has made him nigh unkillable. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like and or subscribe button down below. It helps me out a whole lot. If you want to come over and troll us over at twitch.tv/sprinklebeard, We stream every day, Sunday through Wednesday, depending on my work schedule. And then when it's a holiday, like today, Black Friday, we try to do some extra streams. Thank you guys very much. It's awesome to have you guys here watching and to be talking about champions. What is your fifth stat for Olague, right? So I mentioned earlier that it is HP bonus, defense bonus, flat HP, flat defense. What do you think the best fifth stat would be on Olague? But that's it, guys. Have a wonderful day. And until that next time, ta-ta.